Let's make another randomly generated piece of jewelry.
These numbers are drawer 1, impression die 17.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Here is the die we've chosen. This is some kind of corvid, I believe. I'm not an ornithologist, but pretty sure this is a corvid, and I think this needs to be a pendant.
I've decided to cut out the bird, and I'm going to press it using this pretty thick copper. In order to pick up all of the detail, I need to use a small piece of urethane, press in one spot, move the urethane, and continue pressing until we pick up all of that gorgeous detail. I head over to my jeweler's bench and cut out the bird. This is sped up more than 20 times. Then I use different sanding discs to get rid of all of the saw marks and refine and smooth the edges of the bird. I work through multiple different grits until I reach the finish I desire. It looks nice and smooth. I've decided I'm going to set a cabochon or a cab into a bezel that the bird is going to sit on. And what I'm doing here is I'm covering the inside edges with a permanent marker. This allows me for when I put the cabochon in the setting, I can scribe a line through that Sharpie that gives me a nice bright silver line that I can trim the metal up to get the right height for the bezel. I use my saw to cut most of the metal off, and then I take sanding discs, files, whatever I need to file that top edge flat. You can see the edge is fairly thick, so I'm taking those same sanding discs and I am filing a bevel on the outside edge of the setting wall. This not only cleans up the outside edge of the setting, it thins that top section of the bezel so that it will be easier for me to form over the stone. I continue to thin this top edge all the way around the setting. Next, I need to fit the bird's feet to the stone. So I am checking its fit against the bezel and then grinding down the feet some more until it's a perfect fit. Next up, it's time to solder the bird onto the bezel. Off camera, I did solder on a loop on the top and then I added a bail as well. The final step after everything else is done is to set the stone. If you think of it like a clock, I pressed at 6 o'clock, now I'm pressing at 12. Then I will turn the piece and press at 3 and then 9. You want to work on opposite edges so that you are centering the stone and locking it into place. I continue working from opposite sides and then smoothing out the little ripples that show up in between those areas that I pressed previously. To finish the piece, I go in with what's basically a teeny tiny power hammer, and I use this to fully smooth out all of the little ripples around the stone and press the bezel down onto the stone itself. I sign the piece, and here's the finished pendant. I know this one's going to be a little polarizing. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, but I have a ton of these eyeball cabochons, and I just think it's perfect with this little corvid. It's definitely non-traditional and unexpected, which is what I love making. And I hope you do too. If you want to play along, I need you to leave 2 numbers in the comments, number 1 through 8, which determines which drawer I'll choose, and then the second number, number 1 through 85, which will determine which die from that drawer I'll pick. If you haven't already, check out my website, radishfightjewelry.com. I've got a bunch of pieces up there that are available, and I've also added some recent versions of these randomly generated jewelry pieces. Thanks!